I'm Denise. Reverend Denise Schubert. You can call me Rev D. You can call me whatever you want. I'm so happy, so happy to be here with you today. It's a wonderful topic, and I can't believe how good the music is here. Now, I mean, I've been here many times, but I haven't been here for a while, and I don't know. It just got uplifted, like there's an expansion in the depth of the voices, and it's a beautiful job, beautiful. So today's topic is the art of mindful living. I'm going to change the topic, but I wanted to start at the beginning because I have a master's degree in making stuff up, so I can do anything I want, as can you. But mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations, and surrounding environment through a gentle and nurturing lens. And this mindful way of living, for me, has to do with cultivating the ability to live from the inside out, so that the insides are guiding your life story and not living from the outside in. Now that may sound obvious, except that the majority of people, and even all of us from time to time, are inevitably nudged into living from the outside in, because no matter where you turn, whether it's primetime television, whether it's the internet, whether it's news, whether it's conversation, we have been told that without that beer or without that drug or without that person, you cannot be fully happy, peaceful, joyful, and satisfied. So this dependency on the outer being a certain way and informing our feelings, our internal groundedness and centering, is normal. The problem with it, however, of course, is that what comes with that is a perpetual state of unfulfillment, a perpetual state of I won't be good enough until, or if I don't get how can I be happy if this and that and this and that doesn't happen? Do you understand? Do you see what? Yeah? So I want to talk today about really what it means to live from the inside out and how our mandate for doing so. This quote, "I have the power to choose my thoughts and direct my life," has been a theme throughout from the meditation, the readings, all of it. I have the power to choose my thoughts and direct my life. This is a radical idea in the world today, because I have the choice to choose my thoughts and direct my life implies that no one can control you. Nobody can tell you what to think. Nobody can tell you how to act. Nobody can tell you what to feel. Ernest Holmes said it a different way. He said, change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. Now, the first time I heard this was when I was 45. I was not raised in religion, so I didn't really have, I wouldn't say I had a deep spiritual or belief in God of any kind, really. But like most of us, we reach a point where we say, is that all there is? And we go searching, right? Searching for the meaning of life. Searching, Peggy Lee's song, is this all there is? And then we go looking, right? When I walked into my first Science of Mind community, Science of Mind and Spirit, actually, Science of Mind and Spirit, I believed it. And I loved the science of it. My secular career before ministry was in technology, so I'm kind of a nerd. And I really got this connection between who I was and my life. So much so, it kind of made me want to throw up at first, right? I mean, the teaching is, if your life isn't what you want it to be, there's no one to blame, really, because you have full full responsibility for what you think, what you say, what you do, your attitudes, your beliefs, and your energy. So the challenge that we meet is, how do we do that? I mean, it's one thing to come here, the music's good, and everyone's so positive, nobody's yelling at each other. Well, I'm sure you do sometimes, but you're on good behavior today. Right, and which is all fine and good, except the question is, how do I live this in such a way that it matters not only to me, but to the world I live in? What I do know, and I invite all of you to do this as well, is that since I've learned these principles and applied them, that I want to say to as many people as possible in my lifetime, you have the power to choose your thoughts and direct your life. So say this with me, say it with me now. I have the power to choose my thoughts and direct my life. Now, there is a higher why. Obviously, we do this really first and foremost for ourselves. We do it because we want to transcend the suffering of what it means to be a human without a spiritual foundation. And even though we're all in here, this doesn't apply to us, of course, or anyone watching, but in life, it still is not the way I would have it be. The bombs are still falling, people are still going hungry, people are still poaching elephants and rhinos, we're still depleting our resources, right? So if aliens came to Earth and turned on primetime TV for an hour, what conclusion would they have to come to about who we are as a species? We're constipated, depressed, addicted, impotent. I don't know. There's a whole list of things, right? So these aliens would have to go home and say, these people are crazy. These human beings are crazy. So there is a higher why. So we study and we go through the discomfort of changing. And it is, if it were easy to change, we all would have done it already. So to come out of this living from the inside out, from the outside into the inside out, is not an easy thing to do, but it's worth it because it will leave you free. But even more importantly, it will change you from being a person who contributes to the ongoing problem rather than the ongoing solution. So when you get happy, when you get peaceful, when you get satisfied, everyone within your sphere of influence is impacted. When everyone within your sphere of influence is impacted, then everyone within their sphere of influence is impacted. And what I have learned in 25 years of working with people who transition from outside to inside or from ego to spirit, spiritual people do not harm anything. They don't hurt other people, they don't hurt animals, they don't hurt themselves, and they don't hurt the earth. So there is a personal reason to do the work and a higher why to do the work. There's a quote by Deepak Chopra. He says, "It would be helpful if the universe could give us a clue, pointing us in the direction we should be taking. In fact, the compass is there. To find it, you need only look inside yourself to discover your soul's purest desire, its dream for your life." That slide is coming up in just a moment. So the idea here from our philosophy, faith, and way of life is that our being here isn't accidental. We didn't just land on Earth for no reason. One moment of passion between two people, and there you are. No. Way more significant than that. That if you're here, it's your time to be here, and you have a divine purpose. Well, I would say your name is love and your purpose is service. But even more than that, you have something unique, something uniquely you that is yours to give. But that's an inside activity because you have to find it. Many people, most people are pretty shy about shining in life, right? They stay in their own lane, don't rock the boat, don't cause any upsets anywhere, don't be too conceited, too loud, too full of yourself, too arrogant. So we kind of play small. But the idea that Spirit is living itself through you and as you, that when you do whatever it is you do, whether you teach or preach or play music or make art or work in a dental office or you're a custodian somewhere, it doesn't matter what you do. If the Spirit is expressing itself through your hands and your heart, you will have a positive impact wherever you can have a positive impact. Why? It's not because you're so good. It's because God's so good, right? It's because the universe, right underneath the turmoil, right underneath the craziness, right underneath what doesn't look loving, it is loving and beautiful. That is the truth of the universe. But we have to recognize it. There's some kind of rule in the rule book of life that you have to see it to know that it's there. You have to be willing to open your heart and open your mind so that you can experience what's right underneath the conflict. Ernest Holmes said, all the power of the universe is within you. All the power, not a little bit of power, all the power. But we have to feel it, know it, and then act as if it were true. So this power, I would call it really the power of manifesting, or the power of molding molecules, the power of causing that which is invisible to become visible. And it's part of, well, it is the way the universe works. It's the way the universe has always worked. So as of this very moment in the world, today, like this moment, mindfully speaking, in this moment, the world is the result of every human thought that has come before it. So whatever it is outside, if we don't like it, well, then change it, right? Because it's the same in your life. If your life is not what you want it to be, in any given moment, your health isn't what you want it to be, your money's not what you want it to be, your relationships aren't what you want it to be, and I'm a very practical person, so why would we be here if we weren't evolving creatures, if there wasn't something within us wanting to emerge, something within us that wanted to break out? So, but if it isn't what you want it to be, we have to give up blaming anyone. You can't blame your parents, can't blame your ex-husbands or your ex-wives, you can't blame politics, you can't blame anything that's going on in the outside world. Because if you do, it leaves you powerless. And we're anything but power. All the power of the universe is within you. So God said, well, God did say. Einstein said, I want to know God's thoughts, the rest are details. Right? Because the details are the conditions, circumstances, people, places, and things, and how it's going out here. Those are the details. And I know we all like to think that God, whatever God may be, certainly not in my world what I thought it was. I'm still not exactly sure what it is, but I do know it's magnificent. But if God were watching, I'm pretty sure she's laughing because she says, I gave you the power to have anything. You can do anything. You can have it be any way you want, and you chose this. You choose this. So in the second book of Timothy, it says, for God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. So cowardice means the absence of bravery, which is what I was just talking about, that we don't want to live in life afraid. We want to live in life boldly and bodaciously and outrageously. We want to speak and to let whatever is inside of us that came in with you when you were born out. So Reverend Chris Michaels is a Unity minister who was in Fort Lauderdale for a long time, and I was in a service of his once, and he said this. So I'm going to say it to you because I loved it. He said, our spirits are ultimate adventurers. Status quo, boredom, fear, playing small, these are not qualities of the Spirit. The Spirit is huge, flamboyant. I love that word, flamboyant, and excited. When we stop the Spirit from living fully, the Spirit will begin to decay the body in small and big ways so that it can be free. Now, that's kind of decay is a kind of a harsh word there, but it's in alignment with this idea put forth by Bruce Lipton from the Biology of Belief. He said, every hateful thought, every fearful thought, every resentful thought, angry thought, retaliatory thought excretes toxic chemicals into your bloodstream. And those toxic chemicals move around their business and cause all kinds of things, diseases, anxiety, depression, all kinds of physical ailments, because this body-mind connection is real. But he conversely says, and he was a cellular biologist, so I kind of believed his work. He said, if you replace those with loving thoughts, compassionate thoughts, kind thoughts, then the brain will excrete healing chemicals into the body. And those chemicals will go about the business of cleaning up the mess you made with all your anger and resentment. And it's happened more times. I mean, how many of you have actually experienced a healing, a physical healing from this philosophy, faith, and way of life? Where you, yes, or given up a habit or a pattern that was holding you back, or gave up a relationship that was toxic, just by changing the way that you think. So that's the power. So love, and this is a hard one right now because there is so much in the world that does not look loving. Yes? That looks like it's reason to fear, or a reason to hide, or a reason to be angry. But I want you to believe, at least for the duration of this service, that right underneath that is the truth, which is that the cosmos is held together by love. It was Gandhi who said, love will always win in the end. And if it's not winning yet, it's not the end yet. So, so don't be fooled by appearances. Now, we don't ignore what's going on in the world, right? You don't ignore the pain and suffering. You don't ignore what's making you afraid. But just know that staying in that place without refocusing your attention will keep you stuck in a way that will prevent you from causing, even from the song, from causing that ripple of positivity, positive expectation, or hope. So, love is who you are. Service is your purpose. Love is your name. So So self-discipline is maybe the most important because nothing changes without you changing. No one can change you. Nobody can change your mind. Nobody can, I think we like to think, or used to think, some people still do think, I think, is that someone might say something like this: if God were love and everywhere present, why doesn't he stop all this crap? Right? So why are we allowed to create such a mess for ourselves and other people? Why doesn't God just fix it if God's all powerful? Well, there must be an answer to that question, because billions and billions of people have done billions and billions of prayers asking God to alleviate the suffering, whatever the suffering of du jour might be in any given century or any given location or any given tribe of people, ancient or modern. And I think the answer is because it doesn't work that way. Nobody gave us the rule book. How does the world work? Well, how the world works is, according to Rev Denise, Ernest Holmes, Jesus, the Buddha, and all kinds of other people, is it works through us. That we are the hands, the hearts, the feet of love, of the divine, made in the image and likeness of God itself. So there's something we're called to do. There's something we're called to be. And the very fact that you're in this room means you are already doing that, because not everyone's in this room, right? This room, given today's climate, this room should be full. There should be 200 people. We should be at 3 services a day, because people need hope, and they need a new way of thinking and approaching life, like the rules, like the rule book. How does life work? Well, it works through you. Now, it takes courage to come out from among them. In fact, Jesus said, you must come out from among them. So you can't really stay in the mainstream way of thinking, afraid to speak your truth, afraid to live authentically and spontaneously your purpose. So you can't hide, and you have to come out. Now, the coming out's really the hard part, because I've said this so many times that if you get too happy, if you get too peace-filled, if you stop complaining, if you stop annihilating people with your words or your thoughts, but mostly if you get too happy, it's going to piss someone off. Someone in your life will get upset. They'll wonder if you've been, taking gummies, or if you joined a cult, or something, because we have kind of an agreement of mediocrity. But I promise you, all the brilliant minds of our time, Jesus, the Buddha, the Dalai Lama, Oprah Winfrey, whoever your heroes or heroines are, I promise you, Jesus did not go around preaching and talking and then send out a survey to say, did you like it? Do you approve of me? Right? Do you like what I said? No, because there's some spiritual authority that you are given, which you must embrace and accept somewhere along the way. And how you do that is by honoring your within. Because the presence of God, or any other word you want to use, you can use spirit, you can use love, you can use quantum physics, field, any word you want to use, is within you. And it is always always right, everyone involved, always. So you want to endorse yourself. You want to allow your flamboyant, loving spirit to have its way in your world, not only for yourself, but for in service to really our collective commitment to create a world that works for everyone. Everyone, leaving no one out. Every single person. We are anchored in inclusivity and oneness. And we live on a web of connection, so don't think you don't matter. You know, I've talked to so many people in the last few months who feel so powerless against changing anything on the outside until we can have a conversation that says, who you are changes everything on the outside. Who you are is the change, is the peace that we're all really wanting and seeking. So there's a evolved people talk to themselves and not to the world. Evolved people talk to themselves and not to the world. This is excerpted from Dr. Michael Beckwith's book, Spiritual Liberation, which I'd love to do a book study of spiritual liberation. I think we might sometime. But he says in this little chapter, he says, evolved people accept themselves. They don't try to run away from themselves or imitate others or to be anyone else. They trust their inner guidance system to direct them in the areas in which they have yet to grow, while knowing that they are already a uniquely beautiful expression of the infinite. I love this first sentence because it speaks to, it gives space for our imperfections. It gives space for our upward spiral of becoming, our emerge, that within us which is wanting to emerge. So yes, you are perfect right here and now as you are. And yes, there are ways to grow and expand and become better, but those are from internal sources, not from primetime commercials. Something within you, when you turn within, will tell you to, people go, Reverend Denise, I want to be happier. I'm so depressed and anxious all the time. I want to be happier. What should I do? Oh, I think you should give up smoking. No. Tell me, what else can I do? Okay, I think you should meditate. Oh, I can't meditate. I've tried. What else can I do? So then I'll just say, well, just turn within and ask, right? But when you turn within and ask and say, what do I need to give up this anxiety? What do I need to be of better service to the world I live in? Where should I move? Who should I marry? You will get answers. I suggest you say yes, because to say no to the inner guidance is just to thwart your progress, because there's something within you that knows. You might ask, how do you know the difference between the voice of love within you and the voice of the ego? How can you tell the difference? Do you want to know the answer? Next time. No, I'll tell you now. The inner guidance you get, two things about it. It will never, ever involve harming another person in any way. So your greater good can never mean somebody gets annihilated, mentally or physically. It also means it will never harm you, and it will always feel good. So the ego, that's not so much with the ego, because the ego's job in our lives, besides just letting us move around the planet in these vehicles, is to win and to be right and to accumulate and to make sure nobody outdoes you and to get people get as good as they give. We need to turn away from all that, because that's what's causing all that. So he goes on to say, evolved people trust their inner guidance to direct them in areas in which they have to grow. Oh, I already did that. They don't look to the outside world to convince them that they are worthy of existence, that they are acceptable in the eyes of the world. He said, we can spend an entire lifetime trying to convince everyone around us of our lovability, our worthiness, our talents, and our skills. So we just look and see how hard we work to look good and be accepted, which is completely normal. Except, unless the world's insane, and then to look good and be accepted by an insane world will be what? Will cause what? You to be pretty insane, right? So he says, rather than talking to the world, initiate a conversation within yourself. Call it a dialogue between your small self and your capital self. He says, I'm talking about cultivating a pattern of leaning into your inner self with confidence so that you can skillfully handle whatever arises in your life. Now, this living from the inside out, this is now me, not Michael Beckwith speaking, is rooted, living from the outside in is rooted in our human DNA. We're just taught to do it. So it's completely normal. And there is, if you can catch in consciousness this idea of your holiness and of your power, the power of your thoughts, your attitudes, your beliefs, it's like a light switch. And the moment, another way I would say that is if you give God just a little corner of your heart, the rest will be revealed to you. Have you noticed sometimes, especially in today's world climate, have you noticed how right people think they are? Like how the rigidity, like the inability to entertain the idea that maybe they're wrong. Maybe there are other points of view. I would say to you that the world is neutral and that we are the ones who always bring meaning and opinions. Always. So whatever opinion you have, somebody else has another opinion, and I don't want to take votes on who's right because everyone's right in their own minds. But there is a reality underneath all that we can accept as real and then act as if it's real, which is everything we talk about here, love. Yeah. So if you wish to make changes in your life, just make them. If you wish to change your mind, change it. By virtue that you are empowered by the creator of the universe to do so. God and you are a majority. You do not need the approval of anyone else at all, ever. I now confer upon you a master's degree in making stuff up. You can make stuff up. I was trying to find the little love thing I got. Oh, because I'm going to read it. So Charles Fillmore, who's the founder of the Unity Church, he says, when men learn to turn within to the spirit of truth, turn within to the spirit of truth, light, and inspiration, the differences between the churches of man will be eliminated, and the one church will be recognized. Now, the one church, so church implies kind of an organized religion thing, this kind of thing, and there are mosques and there are churches and there's Hindus and Muslims and Christians and we're new thoughters. New thoughters? Yeah, we're new thoughters. It's not really a very new thought. It's actually a very old thought. I have done a lot of, in our faith, we study philosophy, science, psychology, and world religions. And when you study world religions and get right down to the nitty-gritty of the essence of their becoming, the tenets are almost identical. Love, forgiveness, compassion, and kindness. Only when it gets, and in all the mystical teachings, those who are in the know about mystical teachings have always known that your thoughts are powerful And that when you know that, you are uncontrollable. When you know that, you are uncontrollable. So it would be very hard to control the king, to control his kingdom, if everyone in his kingdom decided they didn't want to be ruled, right? So they just call it, they just keep it, they've kept it a secret for thousands and thousands of years. So the call to action, like the call, like what can you do? What should you do? What's ours to do is, well, I would ask yourself one question. I don't want you to answer it now, but I want you to seriously consider over the next day or two or 1,000 what this means to you. So the question is, first question is, where in my life am I giving too much power to external people, conditions, and circumstances? Where in your life are you giving too much power? By power, I would mean anything that causes you to feel anxious or depressed or worried or afraid. If you are walking around with those kinds of feelings predominantly, you've given someone outside of yourself way too much power. There's this wonderful, this Buddhist teacher was working with his students, and one of his students says, "Oh, Master, please, please, please take me to that place that's peaceful. Please take me there." And the Buddhist teacher says, "Oh, I would love to take you there, but if I take you there, it will no longer be peaceful." Second question, am I trusting my own inner guidance and intuition? So everyone in this room has intuition. You know you have. You've had times in your life where you got the next move, the next thing to do, the next choice to make, the next decision. Sometimes you liked it, sometimes you didn't like it, sometimes you didn't, and you regretted it, and sometimes you did, and you celebrated it. Yes? But ask yourself, even now, where are you trusting those inner urgings, those inner desires, especially if they're about transcendence, transcending fear, doubt, and worry? Where are you honoring them? If you aren't, see if you can begin to in some small, incremental way. And then finally, how can I transcend my own learned behaviors, habits, and patterns in order to choose my own life path? Now, this is where the rubber meets the road, really, because if you're planting seeds, so I'm going to go back to Science of Mind 101 for a second. If you plant a carrot seed, what do you get? If you plant tomato seed, what do you get? If you plant a fear seed, what do you get? If you plant a love seed, what do you get? Yes. So if you've been planting, we've been planting seeds our whole lives, and whatever is there is what's there. And it's even though it's a hard truth, a hard thing to swallow. By the way, did you see that whale that swallowed the person the other day and spit it out? That's what we need to do with our bad seeds. Just spit them out. Just spit it out. So the basic teaching here is if you don't like what you got, plant different seeds. If you have lack, plant seeds of prosperity. If you have fear, plant seeds of faith. If you don't have enough friends, plant seeds of friendship. That's how simple it is in its workings. Not so simple because we have lives that have taken us 30, 40, 50, 80 years to create. So sometimes we have to change our mind. We have to, whatever it is. We have to oftentimes relinquish something, change something, plant new seeds. So be willing to sit with everything that arises with no judgment. Be so tender with yourselves, so loving and compassionate, because it's not easy work, or everyone would be here doing the work. It's not even work that everyone wants you to do, but it's work that I want you to do, and it's work that we want to do, because we are about personal transformation for the purpose of global change. That's what we're doing here. Well, that's what I'm doing here. So I was going to have you repeat the quote as I close, but I drew this morning out of the basket, and it's absolutely perfect. So I'm going to read it once, and then we'll close together, and then I'll pray with you. It says, "My self-worth is defined by God, not by other people's opinions." With me, my self-worth is defined by God, not by other people's opinions. Say yes to that? Yes. All right, let's pray. So if there are new people here today, first-time visitors, never been here? Are there? Okay, good. So welcome. Welcome to the Cape Coral Center for Spiritual Living. So when we pray, just as a distinction, it's not a normal kind of prayer that most of us were raised making. So we're not begging and beseeching an outer deity, the reluctant deity, to do anything for us. We are starting at the starting point, which is that we are whole, perfect, and complete. We are already been given all the good that lives inside, all the money, all the love, all the peace, all the purpose, all the fulfillment, all the compassion, all the kindness, whatever it is, it's here, waiting for you to express into the world. When I still haven't started praying yet, but I will in a minute. So when you express into the world, you begin to manifest those things. They then pop up like miracles almost. So as we turn within together, I just invite you to close your outer eyes, relinquishing the attention you give or have been giving to outer circumstances, conditions, people, places, and circumstances. Just let it all be there, because they're all temporary out-picturing of consciousness. When consciousness changes, they'll change. And so as we open our inner eyes, we gaze into that space and place and dimension within us that is made in the image and likeness of love, our true self, our authentic self. And I know that as you turn within to that place, and I turn within to that place, it's the same place. It may look like there are 8 billion of us, but there's really only one. God beats every single heart. God breathes every single breath. We are connected. We are united. We live on a web. And so it is from that place of community and connection that I speak my word for and about each person within the sound of my voice, claiming and proclaiming your inherited perfection, the truth of you, that you were made in the image and likeness of love, by love, for the purpose of loving. And anything unlike that is a mistake. It's an illusion. And we can leave the matrix anytime and go back to that place inside of us that will guide us, maintain us, sustain us, lead us, empower us, intuit us. Life is not so much a mystery or confusing when you are letting the inside lead the outside. And so I hold for each person here that anything you need to release, you release with ease. Anything you need to change, you change with grace. Anything that is calling you, there is a way. In God, all things are possible. And so I'm grateful for these rooms. I'm grateful for this message. I'm grateful for the awareness that we have already been appointed and anointed by the divine to live our lives fully, flamboyantly, bodaciously, fearlessly. And with this word released, I know that the universe has caught the word and is even now reaching out into the hearts and minds of our brothers and sisters so that everything that we could possibly need to come into our experience comes. And it is for this that we are so grateful. And so for this and more than my words could possibly say, they are released. We leave this time expecting the fulfillment of them, and we do this together by saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.